Good day, my fellow Nigerians. Please come close. Come closer if you're in Nigeria. I want to talk about how ready are we? Or I want to ask us the question, how ready are we? Now, I remember something that happened one day, I think sometime in 2012 or 13. We're in a forum discussion. So our chairman, he actually came late for the conversation. We're having a one leadership discourse. I can't really recall, but he was supposed to be there before everybody. In fact, it was in his house we were having this conversation because we didn't have a venue to use then. So we're using his place. Now, while we're talking, he now came. So as he came, just to cover his face, he now said, "Did he hear?" Okay, no, I think somebody was saying something. I now say when the student is ready, the master will appear. So he now jokingly said that, did he hear? That's the chairman now jokingly said that, did he hear that when the student is not ready, the master will disappear? We all laughed. Everybody just laughed. But that thing he said struck a chord in me. And what was that chord? Somehow I now realize that when the student is not ready, the master will not appear. Now, as kids growing up, we watched a lot of Indian film, Jackie Chan, Bruce Lee, this and all that, because then there was no Nollywood. It was only Bollywood. If you don't watch Bollywood, damn man, you watch Jackie Chan. Or you watch Cambodia, War Without End. These are the films we used to watch. Now, one thing I admit about the Chinese was that they always mention master. Master, he beat me. Why no kill you? They always acknowledge the presence of a master because when a master comes into an environment, there's a transformation that takes place. And most times when the acolytes present themselves, when the students present themselves to maybe a monastery to be admitted as to learn martial arts, they are mostly rejected. When the master rejects them, they will reject them and test them till they will agree. Till the master will now feel that this person is ready. That's when they take them into the monastery or the martial arts school and start training them. Now, the question I want to ask us, or what I want to remind us today, is that we as Nigerians, we are not yet ready to build Nigeria. And that is the greatest problem of Nigeria. It's not even about the fact that our leaders are clueless or they're as evil as Satan himself. No, that's not the problem. The problem is that we are not yet ready. We're not even interested. A lot of us are not interested. That is why the amount of youth that are flying out of this country in the name of Japan, flying out to greener pasture, so-called greener pasture, which only converts them into first-class slaves. Now, do we think that when you jabba, the white man will respect you? Racism is something that has come to be. Even in the next 500 years, I don't think racism will be erased from this planet. So, when you jabba, do you think the white man will respect you when he knows that you're a refugee who ran away from your country? But he took the bull by the horn and built his own country for you with a careless moral standard. Because the fact that you're running away from your country to another country means that you don't care about your country. And let's be frank about it. We as Nigerians have a system of moral principle that is not applicable even in African countries. Number one, we don't bat an eyelid to disobey a police person. After all, recently, I think last year, someone slapped a policeman in Lagos. It's a normal thing. We fight with police people. The traffic warden, the policeman that represents the law and order will be telling somebody to stop. so that the next line can move. And the person will be shouting at the policeman, why you tell me to stop? Now my turn now, you say you tell him to. Come on, he will move. And in some cases, they even hit police people. Now, this is the law and order. With this recent traffic light that you have all over Port Harcourt, how many cars obey these traffic lights? I stay in Mboba in Port Harcourt, NTA Road. If you come to that traffic light and location, it is never obeyed. Nobody obeys it. They just come out, especially taxi drivers. As for Keke, I don't want to talk about those people. Because those ones, traffic light doesn't exist as far as they're concerned. Even when the light is asking a lane to move, Keke will cross that lane. They want to cross that lane. Because I've witnessed where there was an accident like that. A traffic warden asked the line to move. Keke wanted to cross the line first before the cars will move. And one of the cars hit him. And he was fighting the guy. He had the effrontery to fight the guy. That why did he hit him? So you can see the level of madness that we exhibit. You will see an average policeman. He has 5 magazines in his gun. And a sane person will want to ask, are we in a war-torn country? Maybe some of us don't even know that it is a psychological harm. It is a psychological abuse that a policeman is carrying an AK-47. That's an assault rifle used for war. But that's what police carries here. That is because when you are living in a tough environment, you have to be tough. The police has to be tough so they can tame the animals we have. Because a lot of us are animals. We're lower animals. We're not even higher animals. Yes, biology classifies man as a higher animal, but most of us are lower animals. Because we don't live by morals. We don't have any moral standard. Anything goes. You can see 2024 has come. Other nations are building 2050, 2100 goals. Goals for 2100. Our own is no grief for anybody. So if anybody does anything, don't agree for him. If he can't, kill himself. So we are not yet ready. We're jackparing. We're behaving anyhow, me, myself, and I. We're making way in politics for ourselves because it is the national birthday cake that you can use a machete to cut and take, and nobody has any right. When you become a leader, it becomes a license for you to behave anyhow. We're not yet ready. So my point is that if we want to achieve success, because the failure of a nation is a reflection of the failure of the people in that nation. Now, I don't want to say Nigeria is a failed nation. No, we're not failed. Because the amount of stress we are going through, there have been nations that have gone through worse than this. But one thing that made them come out of it was that they took the bull by the horn, put in the effort to stop the BS, and they stopped it. But our own, nobody is putting any concerted effort. Rather, we're all looking for how to get into those offices so we can jump. Even the institutions that are meant to checkmate the political class, they have failed us. The religious institutions have failed us worse than the political class. But because they are sacred cows to some ignorant people, we now feel that we can't talk about them. And when you talk about them, they say they are Satan and they use you. But those people are worse than the politicians. Because in the ancient time, the prophets were condemning the political class. And that was a checkmate on them. But today, everybody is looking for how to go dinner inside one government house or another. Because envelope, they follow and go. Tomorrow we'll call God. So we're not yet ready. And we need to be ready if Nigeria will come out of it. Because the problems that we don't solve today, our children will suffer it. Some of us are jackparing. They don't even know how to speak our language. You don't even know your origin. You have not even gone to your village. You don't know anything. You don't even have your culture. But you go to a white man's land that he has culture. If you go to Scotland, they have their national celebrations where their men wear trousers. You go to America, they do the Day of the Dead. These people have culture which they obey. The Indians have a strong culture. Nigeria and India were colonized by the Britons. But the Indians took the learning from the British people and abandoned so many other things. Nigeria took everything hook, line, and sinker, chased the British away, converted everything into me, myself, and I. No grief for anybody. And today, look at where we are. So, if Nigeria will become better, we have to be ready. And we have to take the bull by the horn. It's not going to be an easy task. But like our national anthem said, arise, O compatriots. Arise. We have to arise from our slumber. We have to think straight. We have to think constructively. We have to begin to see the future as a brighter adventure. We have to come out of that shell of our selfishness and begin to think of a collective Nigeria. Because that's another great problem we have in Nigeria. There's no coherence. The north, the south, the east, the west, everybody is on their own. I live in River State. I was born in River State and I'm 42 today. You come to River State, almost every tribe, everybody on their own. You have some tribes that are still fighting civil wars till tomorrow. They are fighting wars with the guns made by the white man. The white man does not fight any civil war in his community. Again, but we are here fighting with the guns made by the white man. Everywhere you go, everybody is thinking differently. So we have to be ready. Let us be ready so that the master would appear. The master of life would appear and groom us, train us, just like those martial artists school in China or in Japan that trained Jackie Chan and all those Cheng Chang Chou in those movies. The master of life will now train us. Those masters are always available because one, the greatest master is within you. That's number one. The kingdom of God is within you. Before you talk about the various masters of the religions that we practice, for some of us, our daddy, our papa is the master. But the question is, are we applying what that papa said? Are we applying it? So we have to be ready for the master of life to appear to us and guide us on the path of leadership growth. Because if we're not ready, no matter what we do in this life, Nigeria will keep degenerating. Look at the generation of today. Look at our youth, our so-called leaders of tomorrow. Look, what moral values do they have? The only thing remaining for them is to walk naked on the streets. We now have dirty gene. That sometimes when you look at somebody on the street, the first thing you may want to analyze him first to see, is this a mad person or not? Because the hair is dadafi. The trouser is not very different from that of a psychiatric patient. In fact, a psychiatric patient is even better because in a psychiatric, the patients are obedient enough to wear their clothing. Maybe you only need force to give them injection and things like that. They obey the rules and regulation. But this one is the same person disobeying every moral code. When you say anything, they say you are old-fashioned. Yes, it's an old age challenge for humanity. Every younger generation sees the older generation as old-fashioned. But this our generation, the gap between this generation and the older generation is millennia wide. So let us be ready. I'm not talking of collectively being ready as a nation, everybody come together. No, be ready in your hearts. Because the rate of disunity that we have today, it will be difficult for us to come together as one. Because it is very, like leaders say, it is very difficult to get good men together for a purpose. But it is easier to get bad men together for a purpose. So be ready in your hearts. Think about Nigeria. Think about what you can do to make Nigeria a better place. Be ready. Ask for the guidance. If you're religious, that means you believe in God. Ask God to guide you. Doesn't matter whatever religion you practice. All religion is one. No religion is superior to another. So ask for that guidance, and you will get the guidance. Because man is a social animal. Social here implies that we benefit each other from the wealth of our knowledge, understanding, and wisdom. So be ready and start building Nigeria. Nigeria can be great. I believe in Nigeria. Irrespective of the challenge we have faced in the past, irrespective of what we are going through today, I believe in Nigeria. I believe Nigeria can be great. I believe we can make a greater nation. So be ready. Like the scout said, when I was a scout as a kid, one of the laws of a scout is that a scout is always prepared. So be prepared and be ready, because we're about to launch into a new phase of Nigeria. A phase that we will be super successful. I believe in us, and I believe in you as well. Thank you for listening. If you have any question, leave it in the comment section. I'll come back to answer it. Cheers. Good day, my fellow Nigerians. Please come close. Come closer if you're in Nigeria. I want to talk about how ready are we? Or I want to ask us the question, how ready are we? Now, I remember something that happened one day, I think sometime in 2012 or 13. We're in a forum discussion. So our chairman, he actually came late for the conversation. We're having a one leadership discourse. I can't really recall, but he was supposed to be there before everybody. In fact, it was in his house we were having this conversation, because we didn't have a venue to use then. So we're using his place. Now, while we're talking, he now came.